Dear Prime Minister, so you've done it. You've finally done it. You've finally gone back on everything you ever said about a no deal being better than a bad deal. You've gone back on the expressly stated will of the people. You've gone back on your own manifesto promise, although that is hardly unique in our politics. But why? Why have you done this? Why are you so determined that we should not leave the EU? Some say you are a globalist, that you are part of an evil, elitist cabal that is determined, at whatever cost and by any means necessary, to further the interests of that cabal at the expense of the British people. To an outside observer, this conspiratorial notion is beginning to look increasingly credible. Why are you so determined that you are prepared to risk your credibility, your future electoral chances, the long-term electoral chances, and even the very survival of the party that you dedicated so much of your life to, the opprobrium of the British people that you serve, the increasing chances that, by your folly, Jeremy Corbyn, a man who has dedicated so much of his life in lining up beside this country's enemies, may take power, the respect of world leaders around the world, along with the heartfelt and genuine goodwill expressed by ordinary foreigners who have and continue to wish us good luck in our desire to again become properly independent. And most importantly for you personally, I would have thought, your own place in history. Why would you risk that? Why would you risk all of that? For what? To ensure that Britain becomes not only a second-class, non-voting member of a trading bloc? You'd risk all that? For that? Still, I'm confused. So let's take the most charitable view possible. Maybe you'd risk all of that because you genuinely feel that Brexit, a real Brexit I mean, would be so disastrous, a calamity beyond all imagination, that you cannot countenance it. If that really is the reason, then you must seriously be, by far and away, the most moral individual person ever to enter the House of Commons. Now, I don't buy that, not by a long chalk. But if that is true, then that is the kind of concern and is the kind of sacrifice that only a mother will be prepared to endure. Perhaps you think we are, in fact, children, and your infamous Snooper's Charter is perhaps indicative of your mindset towards us. But you are not our mother, and we are not your children. What you are, for better or worse, is our elected leader. But you are also our employee. And as our employee, you must do as we and not as Parliament directs. For they are also our employees and are subordinate to you, as you are to us. If freedom means anything at all, it means being able to make our own decisions. We have, and I'm running out of ways to say this, we have made our decision. We want out. I mean, what is it that you're so afraid of? Have they something on you? Does the internet chatter of paedophilia in high places have some validity to it? It sounds absurd and is frankly unbelievable. But with each passing day, I become more astonished about the lengths that you and your confederates are prepared to go in attempting to betray our plainly stated wishes and begin to consider that which had previously seemed unbelievable. In this context, I'm being forced to consider one unbelievable theory, and it seems no more ridiculous to believe others. Like that you are prepared to risk becoming known as perhaps the most treacherous Briton in history, because you are afraid of some resignations. I mean, that's no more credible. That you're afraid of losing Michael Gove. or Jeremy Hunt? Do me a favour, Theresa. Are you insane? By 2022, if elections are not illegal by then, which judging by your government's actions to date is by no means out of the question, they, along with every other MP who went against the constituents' wishes, will anyway be out on their ears. The Liberal Democrats were more or less wiped out as an entity for far less. For God's sake, don't be stupid. But not only are you being stupid, you're also being cowardly. And for the life of me, I don't know why. You've had your instruction. If Brexit does turn out to be the catastrophe we're all being told it will be, you'll be in the clear. You can say in all conscience that you just did what you were asked to do. But this absolutely, particularly and specifically is not what we asked you to do. The consequences, along with the decision, are entirely ours and not yours. I mean, I'm not absolutely sure that Brexit will be a walk in the park. It's risky. It won't be easy, and I'd be lying if I said that my sphincter wasn't twitching a little at the thought of it. But nothing worthwhile is ever easy. But I'm fortified by the idea that staying in is also risky. In fact, I believe it to be the bigger risk. But I, along with most people, am taking a bigger risk than you are. I'm not on £150,000 a year. I have £472 in my current account and £900 in a savings account. I'm behind on my tax and am paying £160 a month to square up. I have a mortgage that will never be paid off. And that's it. No pension, nothing. And yet today, when I should be going out and earning a living, I am instead packing my rucksack with several bacon sarnies and a flask of tea, along with my stepladder, and I'm going to come and see you and the rest of Parliament, because despite our howls of protests, you don't seem to be hearing us. And I'm doing this with a tingling in my fingertips as I post this, which I recognise as fear, wondering if I'll be sleeping in my own bed tonight or in a police cell. So, my dear Prime Minister, you've tried cowardice. You've tried it every which way you can think of. You've tried it well past the point of hypocrisy, and are now on the cusp of trying it to the point of treachery. It must be hard being so cowardly. It must be difficult knowing that you will be viewed as a traitor like no other, for now and for the rest of history. It must be difficult. So why don't you try something else? Why don't you instead try courage and take the exciting step into the unknown with your compatriots into independence? It's got to be easier than what you have been doing.